Hello, everybody, and welcome to the August 6th Trips and Traps, a beautiful day in Saratoga. Richard Migliore, Andy Serling.
It is a beautiful day. What a breeze, and how much excitement can you feel every day on the grounds? It just seems like one day is better than the next.
No, I agree. It's been great weather. It's been great racing. We've had tremendous support from our fans, and it's just been a fun meet at Saratoga, and that's what Saratoga is all about. It's also all about a lot of turf racing, some young horses, and we found 4 races to talk about for this week on Trips and Traps. We're going to start out with a New York bred maiden race, a fairly contentious race, and we want to show you 3 horses. The 8 4-star Crook in the yellow, who breaks slowly, back here. You'll see him in the yellow colors. The 9 JC Shooting Star, I thought ran surprisingly well with a wide trip in his first turf start, and the 11 Rangers Express. All 3 of these horses get affected by going a little quickly into that first turn, these tricky mile races, Richie.
Well, it is a tricky race because there's not a tremendous amount of run to the first turn, enough that it's okay, but a big field like this, everybody wants position, and they're going into that turn a bit too fast, particularly when the rails are out, and you can see what happens. Part of the field doesn't corner well, and if you're stuck outside, you're basically getting slingshotted out even further.
What's the worst thing that ever happened to you on that course? You ever get almost completely taken out of races? I'm sure you had.
Oh, no, yeah, absolutely. Wound up closer to the outside rail than the inside rail. And a lot of times when a horse's momentum gets pushed that way, being a 1,000-pound animal running fast into that turn, it's really, really hard to get them back. Their momentum really takes them out there.
And I thought the riders in this race, Richie, did a sensational job, actually, of getting them back in position. Joel Rosario on 4 stars Crook. The 11 horse was Rangers Express, Jose Lezcano, and even Julian Leparoux was sort of pushed out with JC Shooting Star. I thought quietly JC Shooting Star was the one people might not notice, but really ran well in here considering the wide trip.
No, absolutely, because 4-star Crook, I think, is more eye-catching through the lane.
Sure.
You're going to pick him up a little easier, but JC Shooting Star definitely finished well. You know, it's interesting. I know what Joel Rosario was thinking with 4-star Crook. I've already blown the ground there, so he's fighting to stay inside. You saw him steady there, and he's going to fight his way through traffic. I think he was trying to do the right thing considering the first part of the trip. You're going to see he's going to have to angle in here.
All 3 are right there.
They're all right there. It's a great illustration right there of where everybody was at. And Joe Rosario is going to duck back towards the inside and kind of like driving in rush hour traffic, wouldn't you say?
I agree. It's very tough, and I think that's one of the themes of this show, trying to rally inside of horses in this turf course. And I'm going to tell you something. 4-star Crook really ran in here. I mean,
yes.
He was running at the end. He's the one flying. I like, though, how JC Shooting Star never gave up. And I also feel as though with Rangers Express, who was first time with New York breds, coming from Churchill, first time with Barbie Barbera, he just had the wide trip the whole way and never had a fair chance. I think all of 3 of these horses in the right kind of spot could be dangerous next time.
Well, there's a good chance we're going to see all 3 of them in the same race next time as well, right? Because they're all maidens, New York breds. They'll be looking for turf again. And I'm going to lean on the one that gets the best of the draw. I want horses drawn inside, especially on the inner turf course.
I couldn't agree more with you. And I think the other thing is, and we see this repeatedly in the races here, you come upon races that are easily 6 or 7 deep on horses that are contenders.
Yeah. You
got to keep your eyes open. If the horse you like ends up at 3-1 or 5-2, look for the ones that you thought had a chance, but are probably supposed to be 8-1 and are 25-1. Those are the ones you can make money with.
Well, you'll make money with them. And trips, you see how things work out, and we've had a lot of horses win at decent prices here because the fields are so deep and they work out the right trip.
Right, and luck doesn't know what the board is.
No.
You know, you can be lucky at 25-1 and unlucky at 6-5. It's a very interesting thing that's going on in Saratoga, and it's frustrating at times, but there are going to be opportunities, and if you stick to your guns and you look for prices, you're going to find them in these races, and you don't need to win too often to make money in Saratoga. We'll turn attention to a race on August 2nd. This was Sunday's card, the 6th race, and a first-time starter, and this is the number 6 horse, Rappel, who is just a little unlucky, and probably it wasn't the wisest of choices by the rider in the stretch.
Yeah, and we'll show exactly where Eric Cancel had a decision to make, and in my estimation made the wrong one. You're on a first-time starter. You don't want to have to battle through traffic when you're getting a horse in full momentum. You don't want to have to kind of steady, peck, poke, look. And you can see here, Rappel's got run. Rappel didn't break great, didn't break terrible. But right here, Rappel's got a lot of run, and he's doing the right thing. You want to save ground around the turns here. You don't want to tip out too soon.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when you're riding the horses, you get a feel under you what you have, and you've got to be thinking 1-2 moves ahead, especially when you have an opportunity like this.
Well, absolutely. And when you've got a flight of horses in front of you and then the other flight in front of them, you've got to be thinking, how am I going to get to that position? Now, he cuts the corner nicely here, but he could have very easily just slid out to the clear at that point and decided to go back to the fence, and you're going to see the trouble he encounters. And frankly, on a horse that was pretty game in spite of being a first-time starter.
I agree. I mean, he loses. You talk about the emergency brake. He may have had the absolute brake on at different points. There he puts it on right there, and his forward momentum. And you're right. He actually picks it up very quickly, and we're going to show you the head on. And he's in purple behind. You'll see him very clearly. Those purple Mark Keller silks are fairly easy to pick out. We're going to throw it to the gallop out. This horse is actually continues to move forward despite getting stopped.
Well, absolutely, and then especially on the gallop out. But what's interesting to me is the winner, Don't Be So Sally, with Taylor Rice, traded positions with the eventual fourth-place finisher, Rappel. She saved ground and tipped out as he was angling back in. They kind of actually crossed paths, one on the way to the inside, one on the way to the outside. And look where the outside horse wound up, in front at the wire, not in front on the gallop out, which kind of points out that Rappel was probably best in this spot.
I agree. I really think this long shot would have won this race had he gotten the clean trip. And Taylor, she used her experience to save ground, but she angled out at the right time, and the rider on Rappel did not.
Well, and I think that is just what you're saying, kind of a rookie mistake. You're not losing ground when you angle to the clear in the stretch. You want to save ground on the turns, but you can sift out to the clear and let your horse be unencumbered through the lane.
Yeah, and hopefully Rappel can run back to this race, because with a clean trip, he's going to be tough the next time he runs.
Yeah.
Turning our attention now to the fourth race on Monday's card. I don't know. It's frustrating because I bet on Dedefoss in this race. I feel he might have been the best horse. You know, the tendency is to be tough on the rider. This horse did not make his life easy.
This horse was difficult for Rafael Hernandez. That's his name, right?
Yes, Rafael Hernandez, yes.
Yeah. And he's trying to get away from horses. He kind of broke out. And to me, he's running away from horses. Kind of a race we illustrated last week with 2-year-olds. This is a 3-year-old. But Dedefoss ran really well, extremely wide throughout.
Yeah, and you're right. It's funny. It was his third start. That's why I was surprised he misbehaved. These outside horses there in the white. You'll see him sort of detach himself from the field. I'm surprised he behaved as badly as he did, to be honest. A third-time starting 3-year-old. He's supposed to be better than this, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's got blinkers on, but interestingly enough, they're very open blinker cups. He's not really closed up. And, you know, this is the advantage of when you're at the track. You know, this horse is in next time. You go down to the paddock and see if they closed his blinkers up some more. Because basically he's got half cups on, and that doesn't allow horses, doesn't stop horses from seeing the horses right next to them. I think he got the horse running a little bit, and you could see he went, he's doing too much, and he kind of took off with him, and he tried to steady him along. Nothing really went right for Dedefoss. Ran really well. The winner was good. Maybe wouldn't have beat the winner, but did lose enough ground where you could make an argument he could have.
I think he could have. And the other thing is, not only does all this happen, and keep in mind, the winner was the inside speed. So it's not like the winner, the winner was saving all the ground, and you had the opposite trip for Dedefoss for the winner. Now, the winner was a heavily bet second-time starter, Brian Lynch. They managed to run on the turf the first time to set him up for this race, and they got 480 at Saratoga. Reminds me of Leon Blushewitz getting $7 for the first-time start at 1 mile and 8 on Whitney Day at Saratoga a few years ago. Worst kept secret ever. You're right. $1,000 may won a little easy at the end, but Dedefoss definitely ran a winning race, whether or not you're sure he would have won here.
He did, and I just think, though, this was a case of a horse being difficult. I would have liked to have seen maybe the rider be a little more aggressive out of the gate, because sometimes you get a horse's mind going forward and they stop that nonsense, and he kind of was in a bit of more of a tug-of-war with him, but he ran well, and I'd be curious to see if he's got different blinker cups next time.
Well, that's a good point, and maybe we'll get Maggie on that and talk to her about that when the horse is in the paddock. The problem for me is I bet him at 13-1. Next time he runs, he's not going to be anywhere close to 13-1. Kind of missed the opportunity. Want to talk about a race, the 9th race on Monday, and Richie and I are going to have fun talking about My Caramia, who I have much love for. But I think one thing we'll agree with, she has significant trouble in the backstretch, and it starts right away when the 8 breaks in, forces the 6 over, and the 6 slams into My Caramia, slams the other one. So a closer, but she's out of position, Richie, from the start, and it gets worse.
Yeah, even if you're going to come from behind, you don't want to be knocked back or shuffled back. You want to break cleanly and then find your way in, because now you can see, now she's been flushed out to the outside, and he doesn't want to be there. You can't win like that on the turf in Saratoga, so he fights to tuck her back in, and that's going to lead to eventually more trouble those two horses are going to come together here, and she doesn't corner quite well, frankly, and really checks and steadies, and you'll see it on the pan shot even better.
Yeah, I mean, it's right. It's tricky, and we talk about these starts so often. And she's buried back there, white with a green hat. You'll see her because she'll drop back to last. The starts are as important for speed horses as closers, because if you have a closer, you want to get some kind of fair position to be able to close from, and she just never gets that position. And I know that I might think she's a little better than she is,
Well,
but the poor thing never got a fair chance in here. She wasn't being the winner. Nobody was being the winner on the entire planet.
But
American Pharaoh wasn't being the winner.
And
Here
we're going to see
here.
her really, really, check. And partly two horses coming together, partly her, not cornering well. I've got this funny vision of you having this filly in your apartment in Manhattan. Like, you like her so much.
I would definitely take her out to dinner. I love my Cara Mia. I think she's a total doll.
Well,
I just feel bad for her and Mitch Friedman because she is a nice horse. And she's been listen, you make your own bet. You're a deep closer in these turf sprints. You need to get a little pace.
Sure.
And as a friend of mine said, how are you going to catch a horse like Lady Shipman when she goes so fast up front and she keeps going fast the entire way around the track? Yeah. She wasn't beating her. I think an argument can be made that she's in the discussion for second if she gets a cleaner trip.
Yeah, and you can definitely make that argument. I wouldn't disagree. I mean, she really had a tough time of it. I just wonder, there's some horses that lend themselves to trouble, and maybe she's just not like a very sharp breaker, so that's one strike against her in the turf sprints, because if you don't break well, you do get buffeted.
But this wasn't her fault a little bit.
Oh, no, it wasn't her fault, but maybe the fact that she's not so quick out of the gate that it's going to happen to her more often than not.
Sure, no, that's fair enough. She's going to fall victim to it. But I'm going to say one thing about my Cara Mia. She can get another shot at this meet. She can get another shot at Belmont. She's going to win one of these races, turf sprints. She's not being Lady Shipman. I don't know who could possibly beat Lady Shipman at five and a half furlongs.
Sprinting on the turf, I find a hard time coming up with anybody. I mean, she is so fast. Like you said, she doesn't slow down.
Yeah, I mean, one of the nice things about racing in general, and Richie and I love racing as much as anybody on the planet, and also Saratoga, is you have good horses in all divisions. And obviously, Lady Shipman isn't, she won't get the attention she might deserve because she's running in turf sprints. But appreciate her for what she is. She's brilliant.
Oh, she's so fast. When she ran a sub 55 5 furlongs. How many times have you seen that in your life?
No, I mean, it was remarkable how she was doing it here and just blowing the competition away. Winning turf sprints by 4 or 5 lengths, that is a huge margin because frequently in turf sprints, there's 4 lengths between first and 10th.
Right. And she said 5 lengths right now turning for home. I mean, she's just devastating. Getting back to my Cara Mia, I'll wait until she gets a little class relief.
I'm gonna get. She's not gonna be Lady Shipman. She can run with the rest of them. I'm gonna make money with her. You're gonna make money with her, and we're all gonna make money by watching the race at Saratoga. And you can give us some help. It's trips and traps at NYRank.com.